Hey guys, your friendly neighborhood gamer man here. Welcome to my channel. And if you haven't guessed already, today we're going to be talking about buttons. We're going to be talking about concave buttons. We're going to be talking about convex buttons. We're going to be talking about translucent buttons. We have happs, we have Sanwas, we have crowns, we have Seimitsus, we have horis, we have generic. We'll go over that. We'll go over the switches and springs as well right after this. And as always, if you find this interesting, please give me a like, please subscribe, and set your notifications to on so you can join me again and help me grow the channel. So I wanted to talk about the happ buttons quickly. They use these cherry switches, and they just click in here like so. And some other buttons, Sanwa for example, have them built in. So it's a bit of a different style. I also have these LED buttons that have cherry switches, and you put the LED light right there. But what they have is 4 wire connections. So you'll have 2 for the button to make that function and 2 to make the electrical function. These happs only have the 2. And this is basically what the underside of an LED connection looks like. So you have the 4. This is a different switch. It's not the cherry one. These have built-in switches. But again, the 4 connections. So here we have 3 different buttons I wanted to show. This is a happ button. So you've probably seen these on different arcades. This is a concave button. So you see that it has the indent. And this one feels pretty good. Sometimes happs are a little springy for me, but maybe it's when they kind of get older, they get springy. I'll show you what the ones sound like on my Pac-Man arcade. These are some of my favorite buttons, Seimitsu buttons. So most of them are convex, like this. And what I love about them is that it's kind of hard to explain if you haven't actually felt them, but it's a pretty firm button, but it has a strong spring in it where it bounces back quickly. So the best way I always try to explain it is it feels like you've been somewhere, or it feels like it's the most satisfying one click out of any button that I found. They're really good for, I would say, old school games, of emulations, of consoles. Like I play a lot of SNES games with these, Game Boy Advance games, Wii games, GameCube games feel amazing with these. And also you have, these clear translucent buttons where you can possibly do an LED mod. They sell a special, I forget what it's called, I'll try to look it up, a special piece that goes here where it'll turn this into a light up button. It's basically a mod. They don't come lit up, but I haven't seen those available in a while. With the Sanwa translucent buttons, I've seen people do mods because they don't make LED buttons. I've seen people do mods where they drill little holes in them and then kind of put their own LED light. So it's a little bit of work. So far, the buttons that I've found that are LED buttons are not as good as any of these. I have a bunch, and I'll show you those as well. So for the Seimitsu buttons, Focus Attack even advertises extra springs that you can purchase with them, and they have different sizes available, so you can put a heavier spring in to have them bounce back faster. So it makes sense because it's a pretty firm button. And I mean, they feel great like this, but I actually did purchase the springs to try them. And so far I haven't put them into these buttons, but I tried them with some of those generic LED buttons on one of my arcades, and it makes a little difference. It makes it feel, I guess, like a little softer. I don't know if softer is the right word. Maybe a little more like butter, a little smoother. So these are those Seimitsu buttons on one of my arcades. You see that? And here you can see how it sounds bouncing back. And I play fighting games with them as well, and I like how it feels, but I probably cannot get the inputs as fast as, you know, people who are using Sanwas or something else that's faster. But it's a happ joystick. See that? No gate, just round but tight spring. So these are Sanwa buttons. And these are Crown Sanwa buttons. They're very similar, actually. See if you can hear the difference. It is a different sound, but the feel and the speed that, you know, they're pressed down with, or the spring action is very similar. And obviously they're kind of the same style. I would have just probably bought 2 Sanwas or 2 Crown, but Focus Attack was out of, you know, each set. And they had like 3 of one and like 2 of the other. So kind of had to do that. And these are really nice bat tops if you're looking for something different. They're very smooth, nice feel also from Focus Attack, and super easy. You just screw the other one, screw these right back on. So what I think I can demonstrate as well is the sensitivity. These are a little more sensitive than even my Sanwa buttons downstairs. I feel like sometimes I just hover over them and it registers an input. So let's see if I could show you how light the press is. Did you see that? So basically this was the press. Oops. That's all it takes to register. You see that? Right here I'll be able to show you the sensitivity. I basically only have to press down either halfway or a third of the way and it registers an input. And this is this model of Sanwa. I'm going to put it in the description what model this is. The ones I have downstairs, I switched out a couple. I think they're maybe the older model and they feel really nice, but I think those you do have to press down all the way. So these basically, let's see if I can get a good angle. You see that? It's like barely a press. This is all the way. This is, I would say, less than halfway, and it registers the input. Sometimes on the select screen, I'll like just hover over it and it'll select my character. You see that? There's like no press. And in comparison, this is a Big Blue that I changed out the buttons to Sanwas. See that? I got the right colors. And they feel really good. And these are the ones I'll put a link to. I've got them for like $20-something on Amazon. They feel great. I know sometimes you got to be careful. There's fake stuff out there as well. They say Sanwa on them. They feel good. So even if they were fakes, they feel so good. I would pay 20 bucks for them any day. But they're not as sensitive as the ones I showed on the MK2 cab. It's just a different model, but actually they feel better for this specific arcade. So this is my iArcade where they're advertising Sanwa buttons, or I think I've seen their ads say Sanwa buttons or Sanwa like even. These do not feel like my Sanwa buttons. They feel good, but if you rewind the video, you can hear the difference right away. I think they're clones. They're decent clones, and they feel good for the different games they have on this cabinet. They actually feel perfect for them because there's, you know, not too many fighting games, but it works fine for the fighting games. There's old school arcade games, which they feel great for. And there's a lot of kind of, you know, ports from, you know, different modern games that are like on Steam, like Modern Retro. And I think even like some, I wanted to say even some Android stuff. So there's a lot of Android ports, and it feels really good for those games. But now let me show you. Let me show you these buttons, and this is a Quality Arcades to me. And I think you guys just heard that. they feel very similar. Those did feel a little better, but the company told me that these are Sanwa clones when I asked them. They didn't say Sanwa clones, they said they're buttons that they manufacture themselves, which are, you know, basically Sanwa clones. I like them. I beat the crap out of these joysticks and buttons, and, you know, they were fine for me. This right here is a Mayflash fight stick, and these buttons definitely feel a little better. They're closer to what a Sanwa button is like, but they kind of have their own feel. They're maybe a little less resistance. I don't know how to describe it that well, but also good buttons if you ever buy this fight stick. I like them. So here's a Mayflash joystick, also with some Sanwa clone buttons, and I play a lot of fight games on this. Well, modern ones, which are a little easier than the older ones, but they feel pretty good. I believe that these are Hori Hayabusa buttons, and I've read in places that they used to make them a lot better, but, you know, this feels okay for what it is. And I think that's every button that I have personally to demo. I know there are a few more. Somebody recently was talking about Ultimark buttons, and you might see, you know, a few others, but that's, you know, the basic gist of it. So this is my Pac-Man arcade, obviously, and these are the concave happ buttons. Can you hear that? So, and they feel just as bad as they sound when you play it. So I'm going to be switching them out, but these are pretty old now. So these are kind of some generic LED buttons. They're not the best, but they're lit up pretty nice. Let's see if you see, sorry about that. If you listen closely, they're kind of squeaky, a little shaky, a little tough to press down. I do use them, and for the games I play here, they're okay. I just kind of play like old sports games, and they work fine for that. I may eventually swap them out, but for now they're fine.